Yesterday I raised with you the scandal of a wealthy vulture fund buying up 46 of 54 homes at Belcamp Manor in North Dublin. These were homes that should have been available to workers and families to buy, to live in and to call home. Instead, they'll be rented out by the fund for more than €3,000 a month. It's scandalous. So clearly your measures to stop the funds have not measured up. It's not just Sinn Féin saying this. Department officials warned government last year that funds were still snapping up family homes from under the noses of ordinary home buyers. Yesterday, Taoiseach, you dismissed this issue. You sought to downplay what is a very serious problem in the midst of a housing crisis. So I want to raise it with you again today, Taoiseach. The 1,200 homes that have been bulk purchased since you introduced your regulations in 2021. Well, in these cases, it's clear that the fund simply absorbed the 10% stamp duty and then they carried on as normal. Nearly 700 of these homes were snapped up here in Dublin, but the vultures also bought up homes in Cork, Carlow, Westmeath, Kildare, Wicklow, Limerick and beyond. So their claws extend far beyond the capital and the damage that they're doing is very real. Taoiseach, if the bulk purchasing weren't bad enough, we now also know that vulture funds bought up 6,000 homes in 2022, 2,000 of which were houses. So in the year immediately following the introduction of your regulations, the year after you said government was clamping down on these funds, we see that more homes than ever were being bought by these vulture funds. In fact, Taoiseach, it was 1 in 10 of all houses sold were bought by funds that year. So don't play this down, Taoiseach. Don't pretend it's not happening. This is a big problem. It cuts to the unfairness at the heart of the housing crisis, and you can't blame young people in particular feeling that the table is tilted against them. The activity by vulture funds locks people out of home ownership, forces them into the private rental market, where the same funds then charge extortionate levels of rent. And then the rent money comes rolling in, and government ensures that funds don't pay a single red cent of tax on this rental income. So where is the urgency in government to sort this out? Well, Minister O'Brien says government will review its measures. But as things stand, another Belcamp Manor could happen today if government doesn't act and act quickly. Tá sé thar am Oireachtas an rialtas seasamh suas I gcóir go nó ceannaitheoirí tithe. Má tá siad dó riamh faoi stopa chur leis na crackhistoí atá ceannach tithe le teaghlaí, tacóidh siad le plan Sinn Féin anocht. Taoiseach, yesterday you told me, and I believe you, that you don't like to see investment funds buying up family homes en masse, but actions speak louder than words. We have a motion before the Dáil tonight that would stop funds buying up family homes, and every TD can vote tonight to clip the wings of the vulture funds, and your government has a choice to make. You can continue to stand with the vulture funds, or you can finally step in decisively on the side of ordinary home buyers and say that this stops now. Which choice will you make, Taoiseach?
Thanks, Deputy. As I said yesterday, the government doesn't want to see investment funds buying up family homes that could be bought by individual families for their own use. And that's why we changed the law in 2021 for new planning permissions. This particular development got planning permission in 2019 and therefore didn't fall under the law, which we changed in 2021. And that's why this has arisen in this particular case. We've also put a super tax, a stamp duty of 10% on the bulk purchase of homes. I hear what Sinn Féin is saying, that you want that to increase to 17%. I think the Social Democrats have proposed 100%. Other parties in the opposition have proposed an outright ban. So even the opposition is not united on the solution to this issue. So what we know is that when it comes to planning permissions granted after 2021, we've already resolved the issue. What does arise is developments that got planning permission before 2021. And if we're going to make any change to stamp duty, we need to examine that carefully. First of all, to make sure that any increase would be effective, and secondly, to make sure that it wouldn't have any unintended consequences. And the fact that the opposition is divided 3 to 4 ways on this actually shows that this is not a simple matter. And while they might vote with you tonight, they don't actually agree with you. And that, I think, tells a story in itself. In terms of the numbers that you mentioned, Deputy, if you can supply me with those numbers, I'd like to check them out. It is a higher number than I would have expected, quite frankly, but it might be the case that some of those bulk purchases were for social housing, and that's quite different. It might be that some of those bulk purchases were not family homes, and we have made a distinction between apartments and houses and family homes. So I would like to interrogate those figures if you'd be good enough to supply them to me. One thing you said is that not a red cent of tax is paid. That is misinformation, Deputy. That's not correct. Tax is paid, obviously, first of all, in the form of the stamp duty when the properties are bulk purchased, and then when the dividend is paid out to the shareholders, capital acquisition tax applies there. So it's not the case. That was misinformation, Deputy.
Okay, so for clarity, I was referring to the rental income, not a red cent there. And bear in mind the level at which bear in mind the level at which these rents stand. Our motion this evening makes a call for a rate of at least 17%, and we're simply reiterating what we told you at the time, that anything less than 17% would fail. It would fail to be an adequate disincentive to clip the wings of the vulture fund. So we're repeating this. I see no reason why you wouldn't support the motion if you are, as you say, concerned to stop this practice. And the figures that I've quoted to you, Taoiseach, I don't have to provide them to you. The CSO have published them. You're not familiar with these figures. I put it to you that you should be. And when you study them, you will find and affirm that 1 in 10 houses sold, homes sold in the year 2021 were snapped up by these funds. Some in bulk purchases, others fell beneath the threshold of that. This is a significant issue. It's not a marginal issue. You got it wrong in 2021. Don't get it wrong again, Taoiseach.
Yeah, I would genuinely like to see those figures and would genuinely like a few hours just to interrogate them. 2021 was the year in which the law was changed. And it was changed, if I remember correctly, during the course of the year. So what will be particularly interesting will be to see the numbers for 22 and 23, because that's when they would have affected. But like I say, I'd like to see them and interrogate them. But just to come back to what you said, Deputy, in relation to tax, companies and people are taxed differently. If you're an individual, if you're a person, if you're a landlord, you pay income tax. Companies don't pay income tax, they never have. Companies pay corporation profit tax, and when they issue a dividend to their shareholders, those shareholders pay capital acquisitions tax. That's how they're taxed. To say that they don't pay a red cent of tax is misinformation, Deputy.
No, you're completely wrong. Thank you.